I'm the Dean of the College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. We are a land-grant university, and the responsibilities in our college encompass all of the traditional agricultural sciences, as well as a lot of new programs in the human sciences as well, regarding economics and leadership, for example, and teacher education. So it's a very broad college, and we're very pleased to be part of it. I think food scarcity touches every person on the planet, and it's part of the future that they will be living in. It's part of the future their children and their grandchildren will live in, and consequently, to ignore the food issues that are global in nature would be a mistake. And the reality is, it's difficult for our students in a country where something like less than 6% of their income is spent on food, to envision people that go to sleep at night hungry. So we've got to get away from talking about agriculture per se and talk more about how do we solve the challenges of the future. And they, in fact, are in agriculture, but the hook will be solving problems. The generation that we're in right now, the group of students we have, really want to solve problems. They want to help society, and there's not a better college to do that in than the College of Ag Sciences and Natural Resources. But our marketing strategy may not be come to the College of Ag Sciences and Natural Resources. It may be, and more appropriately would be, help solve the food problems of the future. One of the interesting things about food scarcity is that it would appear that somewhere around a doubling of our food production is going to have to occur for us to make any headway on food scarcity. All of that will come from science-based research that will hopefully provide us those opportunities. So our students have the benefit of working with faculty that are already leaders in their own disciplines that are creating new knowledge that will address these issues. And one of our focuses at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, as well as Kastner specifically, is undergraduate research. So we have a wonderful program for our students to get involved and hopefully stay involved, understand research. Those that want can pursue graduate programs, but hopefully all of our students that graduate will appreciate the role of science in their future. Food scarcity will be solved with science problems or science solutions, because that's where the inquiry leads to discovery, which leads to doubling our food production. The reality is the great challenge also embraces people and what they eat, how they eat, cultural differences in food. We may be able to double a certain crop, and nobody would want to eat it in the country where we think they need it the most. So there's cultural issues. There's problems right now with food not being distributed. We've got transportation issues, we've got political issues, we've got socioeconomic issues. So the solutions are not going to be just science per se. So our students that have an interest in broader array of issues, socioeconomic, for example, leadership, for example, all will play into the solution. The doubling the crop yield and those kinds of things will be a science-based program, but that by itself won't solve the problem. We've got to have a broader approach, and that will be the social sciences as well. I'd love for every student to have an international experience. I think there are few things in life that will give them that much reward for the time spent. When they actually become less familiar with their surroundings, less familiar with the language, less familiar with the culture, and realize what that feels like, and yet also know that they can help even when they don't feel comfortable because of the familiarity of it or lack of it. That's empowering, because once you've handled that, wherever it's at and however long you were gone, you get a sense of, well, I can do this. And so if we're going to ask them to solve a global challenge, they need to feel like they can function in a global environment. We're going to have to solve this by 2050. The people that will solve it are in our colleges today. So the next Norman Borlaug, the next Steve Jobs, are sitting in classrooms, and there's no reason why they can't be sitting in Lincoln. So I encourage all the students that are here and elsewhere, it's their future, and they're the ones that are going to solve it. They're going to be mid-career, essentially at the peak of their career, when we're having to address 9.5 billion people and how to feed them. So it's not something we look down the road and think, who's going to take care of this? It's your generation. So the challenge is yours as much as anybody's.